Hi Vivek, welcome back to Tech with TV for the episode 4 of AR and VR. Right?
Hello.
Hi. So, I want to start this discussion with you, Vivek, and talking about where the young generation relates to a lot. Where the Gen Zs and millennials, they relate to this content a lot, this frame of knowledge a lot. I don't know how do you address this as a knowledge or not, but the question is all about gaming. Where and what do you think VR and AR are playing vital role in gaming? Is this the gaming culture is going to change after this, or it's going to transform, etc., etc.? What's your comment on VR and AR gaming?
So gaming, like you said, is very relatable to me, and you could see the smile that comes up to my face, right? When you say gaming, but a lot of people, fail to recognize that what has gaming given to any industry for that matter, not just AR and VR. Gaming, with an example of graphic cards, you see consumer grade artificial intelligence, right? You have seen a lot of machine learning applications being developed recently, and that is possible just because of gaming. Why do I say that? Is gaming requires, to a certain extent, a good graphic card, and a good graphic card coincidentally is good for artificial intelligence, for machine learning, to be very specific. You need great amount of parallel processing, and that way gaming has given back to humanity, through machine learning applications and examples. Similarly, we have developed very efficient code for sorting. We have developed a lot of efficient programs, and those are used elsewhere in the world, not just for gaming. Coming back to augmented reality, in a way, we have augmented and virtual reality because people were gaming earlier. People wanted to be a part of the gaming world that they always played, right? Going to the nostalgia feeling of playing Road Rash or other games like GTA 5 and everything. You always wanted to be a part of those games, right? Having seen great movies like Titanic, Jurassic Park, you always wanted to be a part of that exciting universe. Or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, you wanted to feel how a river of chocolate would feel like, would seem like. And VR is essentially trying to emulate that, and it's on the path of essentially making you feel inside of a movie or a game. And that way, poetically enough, gaming has given a lot to VR, and VR has been here because of gaming. That's what I feel. Same goes for AR. A great example of AR game would be Pokemon Go. We have always wanted to be a Pokemon trainer. We always wanted to catch Pokemon, but Pokemon Go has allowed us to be a part of that universe, and it's essentially brought the world together for a short amount of time. But people were very peacefully playing Pokemon Go all around the world. And that uniting factor is what I feel gaming gives in any community, not just AR and VR. Gaming has this sense of, community, and then AR, AR amplifies that. AR and VR amplifies that sense of community. Because you are, let's say you are playing a VR game, and you see some people around the world, you essentially interact with them 1:1. You essentially feel as if they are right besides you, and that sense is it's not replaceable with any other feeling in the world.
So very well said, Vivek. I completely relate to the games which you mentioned, and I would love to be part of those games inside the frames. I want to be the one who snatches man outside from the car and sits in the car and then drive that car at 110 or 120, 220.
You can't do that in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that is the virtual reality which is going to help us, and
right.
it is helping us. Since like episode 1, knowing about where it all started, and what is AR, VR, which industries are adopting it, how many people are using it, what's happening with the business, etc., etc. But I just want to understand one thing, these all things are from the learning and knowing aspect. How do you deal with the regular development of AR and VR? I know there are multiple applications you're working on it. There are so many softwares, industry use cases, but how does the development plays a vital role? Obviously, it is a vital role. Anything you think you have to develop, what are tools, what are learnings, what are logics are you applying to development?
That's a great question. How does development in AR work? What happens is you need to, in any other application, I'm sure it's applicable to any other application, wherein you need to be in the mentality, in the exact shoes of whomever is going to use the application, right? But in the case of VR, the interaction by the virtue of existence is intuitive. It's supposed to be intuitive. What do you mean by that is, normal 2D applications, normal websites, they are 2D. in nature. So your interaction is just 2D, clicking buttons, clicking screen, zooming and everything. But in augmented and virtual reality, the interactions are somehow a copy of the real world, or they try to imitate the real world. So given the example of door, like I said earlier, if you want to open a door in a game, it's just clicking some buttons. But if you're doing it in VR, you essentially go grab the handle and open the door. I mean, that gives you an understanding of what mentality you need. There's a common term, there's a very general term used in the industry. It's known as HCI, Human Computer Interface. And like I feel that augmented and virtual reality are obvious extension to what HCI has been. HCI stands, like I said, for human computer interface, wherein your mobile screen is a portal to your computer that you're interacting with. So how do we design good interfaces keeping the user in mind is what HCI is all about. But that again blows exponentially when you're doing it in VR or in AR, wherein the interaction is not just limited to a screen. Screen is limited possibilities. Virtual reality, it blows up the possibilities. Like you can interact with whatever element you see in unimaginable amount of ways. And that is a good and a bad thing from a developer's perspective. You can do limitless interactions. You can make a certain experience or a certain game in a certain way in 2D interfaces, using 2D interfaces. You have your keyboard and mouse and touch screens and everything. But in the case of VR, you can go crazy. You can go think out of the box and you can make great experiences. One good example would be Super Hot. That's a game that some of you must have heard of, wherein you get to be the protagonist. You shoot other people in a game format, but once you start moving, the time pauses, and once you stop moving, the time slows down, and then you get to think. You get some time to think on how you'll plan your next attack, and then do that. So why I bring this up is you can't do this format in any other medium, right? You can do this only and only in VR. So your movement is the input.
I think that's quite an interesting topic, which you highlighted up to HCI. Drilling it more down, can we understand HCI in a very simple term? What is exactly HCI for normal people? Yes,
exactly. HCI, let's not go the terminology way, right? We'll go in a very simple way, wherein designing a shoe needs the maker to understand how the person is going to use that product, use the shoe. How is he going to wear it? How long is he going to wear it? What is the purpose of the shoe? Is it a running shoe? Is it a fashion shoe? Is it a climbing shoe? Similarly, designing a VR experience, you need to get into the frame of mind of the user. That is what essentially HCI is. You need to understand the psychology of the person who is going to use, and then design your experience around that idea.
It's as simple as the name is human-centered interaction, right?
Yes, now it makes sense.
Yeah, now it makes sense. So any interaction which human is going to do with the system,
right.
So that sense of understanding is required for a developer to develop an application in simple terms. Wow. That is really an interesting thing, when you understand the definition, it gives the real value to those words. Right. That's amazing. As we understood that what's the HCI, what is there happening in the gaming, etc. Can we discuss, or can you share your comment on the career aspect? If young bees want to get into all AR and VR development, or the organizations who are already into AR and VR development, right. What is the growth of that organization? Or if someone wants to get into it, which are the tools, which are the tutorials to refer the complete 360 degree knowledge of it?
Right. So I'll start with naming a few companies, and you tell me, do you relate to those companies? Google, you've heard of it?
Sure.
Facebook, you have heard of it?
Absolutely.
Amazon, you have heard of it?
Live on it.
So what if I say all of these companies are betting their future on augmented and virtual reality?
Oh, that's amazing. Quite exciting.
So now you understand the depth of what AR and VR is, right?
Yeah.
For career opportunities, yes, you have a lot of career opportunities. For learning purpose, you have companies like Unreal, you have companies like Unity Engine, you have companies like Blender, softwares like Blender. They provide their software for free. If you are an individual user, you can use those software for free. On top of that, if you need some learning content on the same, you get it on the platform itself. So Unreal Engine is one of the largest game engine in the world, and the best content to learn Unreal Engine is provided by Unreal Engine itself.
Wow.
Same goes for Blender. Blender is an open source platform wherein you can make 3D models. You can essentially make movies out of it. Nowadays, a few video songs, a few short films have been made on Blender itself. There's one beautiful movie, I Lost My Body. It's present on Netflix. It's an Italian production, if I remember correct. That was totally made, designed, rendered, and totally sound design. Everything, like the whole aspect of the movie was made inside of Blender. So that's the power of softwares that we have right now. Earlier, making a movie quality render was not possible on a consumer grade PC, but now we have RTX technology, we have ray tracing, real-time ray tracing, we have super sampling, we have plethora of technologies that help assist you in a certain way. We have asset libraries like Megascans, which gives you assets that are scanned from all over the world. So let's say you want an Icelandic location or Mount Fuji or something, you can just Google, you can just search in the library, you will find those assets.
Wow.
On your fingertips. So we are at a state where you can access all of these tech. Your imagination is the limit basically. There's no lower or upper limit to what you can learn. You just need a good internet connection and you're good to go.
That is amazing, that the way you mentioned it out, that things are available. It's only the willingness of learning is required for anyone to adapt it, At this one last question I want to add, as industry is growing, demand is increasing, but the supply is going to be less so far because it's yet to develop. Is at the very infant stage. What do you think, or what is your comment on the government's takeoff point where we should have some authority, or maybe the education should turn towards the AR, VR development, learning, something such programs? Do you think India requires that?
Yes, I totally agree with what you said. Yes, India requires a lot of attention to what AR, VR is. It's been the case with all the IT fields inside of India, right, where we don't pay attention to what is happening around the world. For example, programming or coding, I feel should be taught to everyone as ubiquitously as English or basic maths or basic science, because logical thinking will help you all the way. It's not just to make games or websites or programs. Logical thinking will always help you. So that's my opinion on logical thinking. Same goes for AR and VR. You can't ignore that it might come into the future. AR and VR is here and it's here to stay. It might change its form. It might be a chip inside of your head, but it still runs on the basis of what AR and VR is. So the design philosophy that I told you earlier, you use the same philosophy to design whatever future hardware is. But still the tech will be the same, right? It is essentially going to be AR and VR, and it's here to stay.
Well, that seems very important for everyone to adapt the complete coming future. Right. If you'll not, you'll be out of the race. You'll obviously stone on a road which will not require,
I would not put it in those words, but yes, you need to catch up with the technology that is happening around you.
As simple as that. So AR is a new trend, VR is a new trend. New age is all about AR and VR. Here comes to the end of the episode 4 talk. That was really interesting, Vivek, to understand the complete gaming to HCI to the career development, and ending it or closing it up at your point of view with respect to government. That's so amazing. It gives out the complete 360 degree knowledge for anyone to understand what's happening in the industry. Right. So thank you so much, Vivek, for sharing your experience and knowledge here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So thanks again, TechWay TV, for having me here. If you have any doubts, just mention in the comments below, and please do like, share, and see you in the next episode.